Hi, I'm Driftwood. Today we're here in the sunny sunflower fields in East Sussex in Plumpton, and I'm filming today with the Lumix S1H attached with a brand new battery from IDX. It's the 150p. It's their biggest battery in their new range, and it does USB-C power delivery as well as a standard D-tap to V-mount. We are currently charging and powering the S1H, the DJI transmitter, and also the Blackmagic Design video assist. After trying out the batteries in the field, I drove down to IDX UK to catch up with Rob Holland, sales manager for the UK and Republic of Ireland at IDX Technology Europe.
IDX have been in business now over 30 years. Most people will know IDX as a broadcast battery manufacturer. I mean, the products to my right here are our main core business for delivering. So we've got batteries that are all V-lock, so that's our forte. We have interlinking batteries to give infinite running time. We have extremely large batteries and heavy for lights and massive cameras in the field. And then we come to our duo range, which is the more versatile slimline products. In addition to that, we have the SBU type, also the Panasonic type that your users will know from the video cameras, and Sony and JVC products. The IDX brand basically has been brought up with a very high degree of safety, and the technology within has always been the Panasonic cells, which are very high quality selected products for us. All the circuitry is accepted by Panasonic to make sure we are treating their cells the best. For your end user, after all of that information, what it means is long service, good value for money products. We try and keep them as simple as possible, so then in the field with the professionals, they have a product that they can just go to their kit bag, grab out, put on the camera and get on with the job. That's where we're at. Now our point for you, and the bit where you got excited, is our previous range of IMicros are going to get updated at IBC. The real big thing for you guys is the USB PD. The PD stands for power delivery. What happens is you connect your USB-C to this and then connect it to a second device, in this case the GH6. This battery supplies the voltage appropriate for this device because they are both PD compatible. So our batteries will give 5, 9, 12, 15, and the bigger ones will give 20 volts out as well. They just talk to the device, and whether that device is a Lumix camera or a laptop or an iPad, the correct voltage is supplied to that device. Our previous range hadn't got this on, they'd just got a pair of D-taps on, which obviously you've managed to use yourselves and found quite useful. But this now takes it to a second level. Instead of having to purchase a large V-mount charger, all they need now is an IDX single channel charger, I said that quickly, or the IDX twin channel charger PD. You may look at these and think these are very sort of lightweight, but in reality they're about 20 to 30% faster than the previous charger's V-lock. So this is how the PD system is expanding the capabilities of the IDX battery systems. What actually happens with your cameras is once we've powered up the USB PD, and that is a simple operation, you sit and hold the check button for 5 seconds, and then alternate lights come on. That now means that this USB socket is live. You don't have to do anything else. You just plug it in and plug it into your camera device. On your cameras, as you've quite nicely taught me, you then get an indication that the camera is identifying a power source which is charging the internal battery. That's it, end of story. Now, I think we were chatting earlier and we were talking about up to about 7 hours record time. So these batteries will give you a very, very long capacity of run time. So we've got a 150, we've got a 98, and we've got a 50 watt battery, 50 watt hour battery. Critical thing for us is we always show on the back the flight safety. It is important that you do adhere to this when you're getting on flights. So for example, you can take 2 150s currently on a plane. You can take a large quantity of these or large quantity of these at the airline's discretion. So normally you take 2 or 3, that'd be quite acceptable. If there's any doubt, use the QR code, it takes you to our website. You then have the sheet on there which you should really print off and take with you to the airport. That then gives the airport all the full descriptions of what the battery is and allows the flight to go ahead easily. The other little feature on these batteries is a Vtorch, which is quite handy, especially when you're at the back of nowhere in the dark. 2 presses and the light comes on, then that switches off automatically after about 20 seconds.
And that's really handy in the dark. You're looking for something, or a cable or a USB-C cable, your other battery are swapping over. It gives you enough time. I'm noticing about, what, 20 seconds is it, or 10?
It's about 15, 20 seconds, yeah. I mean, I use it for the kit bag, basically. It's when you're diving in that kit bag and you're looking for that connector at the bottom and you can't get your phone on because you've turned it off because you want to shoot. That helps you out quite a lot. So it's another little feature on the battery.
Now, pressing that in, it doesn't interrupt the single 5-second press you have to do for
not at all. No, all independent. So it's a multifunction button, but they're all independent.
Just go through that again to the single press 5-second. Just
so
tell us what
sit and hold for 5 seconds, and then you get the alternate LEDs come up. That then gives you USB power to your device via the USB-C socket. That switches off after a period of time, which is about 5 or 10 minutes. So if you power that one up, as I've just done, then put the battery on the table, it is now not going to run until it dies. It'll run for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then it'll shut down as a power save mode. Then you have the double press, which turns on the Vtorch. And obviously the simple one is a single press, and it tells you how full your battery is. So you've always got your capacity, your fuel tank guide. Simple, easy to follow, with flashing lights. So you've got about a 10-stage set on there. So you can work out the charge of the current capacity of the battery.
Excellent.
So the purpose of the PD is to give multiple voltages out. So you may have an iPhone, you may have a monitor that runs off USB. You could have little transmitters that run off USB. Lumix cameras that run off USB. And I think we were chatting earlier, and these are different voltages. So again, these batteries will automatically switch. You don't have to worry about a special code on the battery. The D-tap is what I would class as a universal DC output. So this will just give you battery voltage. So it's not necessarily 12 volts, it's not regulated, it is battery voltage. So if the battery is fully charged at 14.4, you're going to get 14.4. As you get towards the end of the life cycle of that battery, or the discharge cycle, should I say, it's going to come down to about 11 volts. Hopefully then you'll switch over and change away. That is where the difference is with the USB, because the USB is giving you a fixed voltage. The batteries have a top and a bottom voltage. You'll find with things like screens, they have a top and bottom voltage. And as long as the battery top and bottom matches the device top and bottom, play away.
You're good to go.
If you get something that's regulated or needs a regulated input, say 12 volts, which I think the YAG had got a 12 volt regulated, then you have to put a regulator within that circuit to make sure it gets that. You cannot just connect the battery voltage. I think the YAG, in fairness, had got a very tight window on the voltage from memory. It wasn't a broad one.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The battery is dumb when you're using it from the D-tap and the connectors at the base. So I'm ignoring the USB PD currently. It will give a voltage. So what I would try to avoid is connecting two batteries separately to one device or a group of devices where the DC can actually start crossing and having an impact. What we don't want is one of the batteries trying to charge another battery via your device or devices. So you should avoid that wherever possible. Have a single power source. That isn't always possible. It depends on the connections that are available on that device. This is where I can't be specific. I would always try to avoid running with two separate power supplies going into a group of kit. Theoretically or practically the best way is a single power supply. If you start using multiple power supplies, you've then got all sorts of problems where potentially, sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you won't, but potentially you've got a problem that the connection will give a voltage in the opposite direction and potentially attack one of the batteries or the little device sat in the middle. And the little device sat in the middle too often is probably the most expensive device available. So yeah, the weakest link is always the expensive one. So I would try and avoid it. If you're talking about a ferrite core, that normally is to stop interference being taken down the cable. It is as simple as that. So you get a cable like this, and then it gets wrapped around a ring. And if that's all we're talking about, I would say all that is for is to stop RF interference passing through that cable, because unfortunately that makes a perfect antenna for any localized RF interference. So I would highly recommend, if you're going with our IMicro PD range, you use one of these chargers, either a single or dual channel. So it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, now scalability, over the years then, your IDX batteries seem to have got lighter. It's fantastic. And using, if you look at the duos, like the 98, it certainly seems weightier than the new 98 batteries.
Yeah, I mean, the cell technology has improved. I said at the beginning we're very critical on safety. These are certainly robust and built for safety. The casing technology has improved, so now we're still meeting and exceeding the standards for drop tests and things like this. But we're getting them into a tighter case. So I think the plastics technology, the cell technology, the PCB technology have all moved forward. So even in my time with the company, which is about 14 years now, I've seen a big reduction in size. Some of the weight sometimes is a bit perceived because you see something small, so you think it's light. You see something large, you think it's heavy. So some of it is perceived, but there has been weight reductions over the period. When I look back at the old HL9s, which was the go-to battery when I first joined the company, compared to this one, it's definitely lighter. Marginally.
I guess it's the form factor then, isn't it? People prefer the smaller size, you know, even Arri Red users.
Well, these were
mounting on so many newer devices nowadays, drones and whatever.
And that's really why the micro range has come out, because when you look, these are both the same capacity batteries. When you look at them, this is the old form factor for the sort of broadcast news type environment, ENG type operation. This is now the more micro camera, small camera. So we've got a little bit more depth on them. But in reality, this is a far more compact battery and more akin to our range, which really does bring me on to the point that I've totally missed. It's like the elephant in the room. The original range was a 150 and a 98. The 50 now is the addition to the range to give the smallest form factor going, because again, when we sit and look at these, we've again reduced the size. Admittedly the capacity, but if you wanted to run and gun, get on the move, and you don't want something massive sticking out on you, something heavy to hold you down, then the 50 could potentially be the battery for use.
Absolutely, lighter, it's a short shoot, you're not looking for duration, you go with the other batteries. If you're looking for duration, doing like a documentary or a live gig. So yeah, it's great to see that you've got all three bases covered.
Yeah, thank you.
Now tell me about the warranty on this. If something does go wrong, your batteries, how many years warranty do we get?
You get 2 years warranty, straightforward. And funnily enough, if we cut a hole in the wall just behind me, that's our service department based in the UK. So we're not sending them back to Japan or anywhere like that. They come back to the UK here. We look after them here. What we tend to do is, if the battery is deemed faulty, it's replaced. We don't repair it, we don't take them apart. I did discuss earlier that these are safe. The whole integrity of the device is built at the factory. We cannot take them apart safely and put them back together again to the same standard as that happens within the factory. So we replace them, which I think is different from a few companies, but in my opinion, far better, because you could come to us after 18 months and go, this one's faulty, Rob. And what I'll do is I go, yeah, it's faulty, have a new one.
Yeah.
Finished.
Okay, that's good. Is there anything else you'd like to mention about this new range? Obviously, people can go down to IBC this year and have a look at them. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm going to say the first proper showing is going to be at IBC this year. I mean, these are so new. This is the first time I've had my hands on them. In fact, you've had more experience with the batteries than I have. So at IBC, we're showing them for the first time to the international market for Europe. We're hoping these will be available for sale from around about October time this year. So that's the plan. I can't give you any price information, so please don't ask.
Maybe in September, around IBC?
Yeah, IBC time I think we should have a guide prices on them. So we should be able to give you some guide prices in September time, yeah. So you can then update your colleagues on that one, yeah.
Excellent, fantastic. Right, I think I've covered all bases then with you, actually. Yeah. Done the DTAP side as well. What's new? What's the future?
What's the future? Hydrogen.
Great that you've got these new batteries coming out.
Hydrogen power.
You guys are always developing. Yeah, hyperpower.
Yeah.
Scalability is always the big thing, isn't it? Getting it down to a minimum, but and safely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, are you looking at any other markets at all, or exciting for us? Prosumer land?
Well, we're going in both directions. We're trying to cover all the bases because we're expected to by our customer base. So we're expanding our range, and again, if you're out at IBC, you'll see it. We're expanding our range to the B-mount market, which is the top end sort of ARRI type camera with a 24 volt. We've developed the SBU Sony range, the micro range, and we are looking at other alternative products as well. So,
all zipped on those,
yeah.
Which just quickly brings me back. We quickly sort of went over earlier. We were talking about SB on the back of these batteries, what this meant. So on the front side there.
Oh, SB.
You're going to quickly tell us if somebody asks, what does that mean, Rob? Just for argument's sake, let's just tell our users.
I think for the Lumix market, it means nothing.
It's irrelevant, yeah.
It's totally irrelevant. For the broadcast market, where you've got sort of shoulder and large cameras like the ARRIs, the Sonys, the Panasonics, the Reds, it's a digital data connection to go to the viewfinder, which gives a readout. So it will tell the operator how much time they've got left and the voltage. But for this market, it's totally irrelevant because you cannot get that connection to that point. and it means another changeover, and also asking.
Different mount, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a different mount. You're going to have a whole another level of software on the camera as well to read out. We discussed it earlier fairly fully, I think, and because of the way this mounts, we're using the USB-C connector on a PD protocol. It just sends the voltage down, and then this camera, as far as this camera's concerned, it's plugged into the mains.
Yeah, yeah.
End of.
Which brings us to the end of our interview. Thank you very much,
sad.
Rob, and always good to see you.
And yourself.
Good luck for IBC and the new batteries, and the whole of the market, of course. You know, you guys are really cool. Love coming down to see you, and yeah, good luck with everything.
Yeah, get you guys to contact us, and girls, sorry.
Yeah.
And we're always available to contact customers, talk to customers. So
just read out the website for us again.
www.idx-europe.co.uk.